What's up, guys? How are you? I'm making this video to do something which I have been doing for quite some time now, offline, and which is motivating people to read. Reading is something which has changed my life, like completely changed my life. Reading is something which I absolutely love. Reading is something which I have benefited from a lot. Reading is something which I want you to benefit from. So that is one of the reasons, and there is another very important reason of me making this effort, and I want to detail it right at the outset. I have been, I'm lucky enough to be in connection with the youth, and over the period of time, I have felt so many times that there's this growing lack of ability to focus, not only among the youth. Youth are, of course, my means to understand the culture, but this lack of ability, which I'm talking about, the lack of ability to focus, is something which is affecting us as a culture. All the age groups. There's this diminishing attention span. Diminishing attention span. You do not have the people today do not have the attention span. They can't focus on something for longer period of time, and the reason which I find is the primary reason, in my opinion, is that we have distanced ourselves from reading, from books. I don't know many people who read regularly, and by reading I don't mean reading something which your profession requires you to read, or your course requires you to read. If you're a student, reading is the reading which I'm talking about is reading something on your own, which has something which has no direct economic output to your life. And this lack of reading, which in turn gives us this lack of you know ability to focus, is affecting us in a big way culturally and even as a species. So I just thought I will make I'm going to address this issue through a video on benefits of reading or importance of reading. So the first thing which I want to talk about is a comparison. We have become a culture who communicate through images and not through texts. Thanks to social media, what I'm talking about. So we almost all of the political discourse today is happening through memes, which are 90% image and maybe 10 to 5% text. So we have our communication is primarily through images. We have become an image culture. So an image, as opposed to this kind of communication through images, there is another kind of communication through texts. Now these are two totally different things psychologically. Now if we take an image, if we are presented with an image, what mental resources do we invoke? See, an image doesn't present an idea to you; it presents an object which you can just recognize. So it doesn't call upon a lot of mental exercise. You don't have to press your brain too much. You don't have to push your mental ability, your mental resources too much to be able to understand an image. While the text is something completely different. If there is a paragraph written in front of you, you will read it, and the very act of reading will ask you to call upon, to invoke your mental resources to be able to analyze what is written. Analyze it for any possible contradictions, for its logical coherence. Something written at the start of the paragraph may be contradicting something which is written at the end. So you are continuously, subconsciously invoking your analytical skills, your ability to analyze, and and the reading actually asks you to be immobile for some time. You don't have, if you're reading a book or even an article, you absolutely have to be not moving at that time. So you become more patient that way. Your attention span, the basic need for you to read and understand even a small article is a good attention span, which an image doesn't want from you. Now this lack of attention span, this lack of ability to focus may not seem a very big problem prima facie, but it is, and let me try to analyze this a little closely with you. Now the people who have not trained their mind through reading, who haven't honed their analytical skills over time because they have distanced themselves from reading, are also have also lost their ability to analyze things outside of the book in a real world scenario. Take politics for example. So the political discourse today has gone to its lowest in history, and the reason is the lack of people, the lack of population's ability to analyze the discourse, analyze the statements made by politicians. Now they, because we have lost the ability, the politicians are set free to instill any emotion into our heads and get our, get the group of people, mobilized. So the lack of this human ability to analyze is a gift from God, and you have to keep it intact through care of it properly, by which I mean through reading. Now, there's another point which I want to touch upon very briefly. Now, the people who don't read limit their knowledge to only their experiences, and a human experience can be so limit can only be so limited. Now, if your knowledge is so limited, your views which are based on your knowledge are going to be shrinked, and your world view is going to be shrinked then. So, and that is something very cruel, which can be done to one's own self. And this act of reading will expose your intellect to the views and the experiences of the authors, the authors you read. And a good author's opinion, or any knowledgeable person's opinions, is a big deal. It actually has a great effect on your mind, on your ability to form opinions. And this ability will actually help you to form your own opinions, and then the world view, which is formed on the basis of this expanded knowledge through reading, is going to be a much more informed worldview, which is far more valuable than than the worldview formed through emotions, instilled in your head from a politician, or from a rogue, any demagogue. So, and I understand, there will still be conflicts between two informed worldviews, but the conflicts between two informed worldviews will be of a completely different nature, as compared to the conflicts between two emotional worldviews, which we currently are, banging our heads with as a culture. So, the above two effects of not reading feed into each other. The first one, the people having low analytical skills, and then the people with having, no ability to form an informed worldview. These two effects of not reading feed into each other, and we get degraded as a culture and even as a species, and we are prone to be fooled by demagogues, and we are, lending ourselves to be manipulated quite easily. So guys, if you are already not in the habit of reading, I encourage you to pick up a book and start reading from today. And at the end, I would like to conclude this video by something which I have heard very recently from an intellectual: if you want to become a leader, become a reader. Thank you.